Your parents unknowingly shape your entire worldview without even realizing it. And for better or for worse, it affects how you see everything around you. I was in New York City last week, and while I was at the Museum of Modern Art, I noticed these cards placed next to certain artworks. Which, by the way, I've launched my Substack with my first article about these very cards, so be sure to check that out after the video. Clearly designed for children, they ask questions like, what feeling does this painting give you, and what do you think the artist was trying to show? And I'm glad these cards were there, even just for me to learn more. But I couldn't help but think, despite the good intentions, they only work if you already know how to use them. And while the questions may sound simple, they require something from parents and kids, a learned comfort. To be able to have an opinion about something abstract, to interpret without a clear right answer. Some children spend their whole lives in homes where adults ask them open-ended questions. I don't know from a parent is followed by, let's think about it together. Whereas other children spend their whole lives in homes where questions have definitive answers, and I don't know means ask someone who does. The best way to show this is with an example, so let's use Emma and Marcus again. The two families are at the MoMA on the same Saturday afternoon. Emma is 7, Mom is a lawyer. They step in front of a Rothko and Mom reads, what feeling does this painting give you? Emma stares at it. It feels heavy, like it's pushing on me. And her mom doesn't correct her. She doesn't say, well, actually, Rothko was exploring the sublime. She just nods and says, heavy. I can see that. Why heavy? Emma responds, the red is really dark and the edges are blurry, so it feels like it's moving. Mom smiles and says, yeah, I think that's exactly it. Now, what just happened here? Mom did something really powerful. She showed Emma that her feelings about art are legitimate starting points, and the point isn't to get it right, but rather engage with what you're seeing. Now, Marcus is also 7. His dad works in a warehouse. He brings Marcus to expose him to culture and give him experiences he didn't have growing up. They stand in front of the same Rothko and read the same card. What feeling does this painting give you? Marcus looks at the painting, looks at his dad. He doesn't know what to say. His dad doesn't know either. Dad can't say it looks unfinished or like a mistake because he knows museums are supposed to be educational and maybe he's not getting it. But he can't lie and pretend to see something he doesn't. So dad says, it's big, huh? You like the colors? Marcus shrugs. I guess. And they move on. Now, what happened here wasn't a failure on Marcus's dad. He brought his son to a museum and tried to engage. But what he couldn't do was model interpretive confidence because he didn't have it himself. So Marcus learned something different from that moment. That museums are places where you're supposed to understand things, but I don't. And that other people know what to say here, but not me. At the end of the day, it's not in the museum's control how families interpret these questions, and I think it's an amazing initiative. But we have to acknowledge these gaps exist to take the steps in order to bridge them. For Emma's family, these questions are familiar and comfortable. For Marcus's family, they're alien. And understanding this difference is exactly how you're going to set your kids up for a better future. If you want my personal thoughts on travel and how I'm navigating this world in pursuit of a life well lived, check out my Substack, and I'll see you in the next video.